Good greetings, everybody. Welcome to the peptosynthesis theory. The local time is, I am trying to find out. The local time is 11:45 for me, and so that's just before, well, it is pre New York session. What we're doing now today, what I'm going to be presenting is, as the title indicates, a trade recap of my last week's Funding Talent Challenge account, and it is the week 3 out of 4 of my Funding Talent Challenge series. So it's been one hell of a week last week, and I learned so much about hesitation. I think that was the big obvious kind of lesson for me as of last week, and so let's go over that right now. Once again, let me know if audio's alright, if the colors on the screen hurts your eyeballs, so we can work it out. Yeah, okay, going over to the screen now. Right, okay, so what we have is, as an overview, I've taken 6 positions, and we'll go over the negatives and the positives about all of them, and then we're going to conclude what went well, what went wrong, what I'm not gonna do again, what I'm gonna keep doing, and how I was planning how I'm gonna do all of that in terms of what I'm gonna be doing from that information over the weekend just gone, and how I'm going to be applying all of those newfound knowledge into this week, which is week 24, and it is also going to be the last week of my Funding Talent Challenge account. So this week, this trade recap is quite important to me, because this is where I guess is, my last chance to execute what I've learned for the past 3 weeks and see where I'm at by the end of this week. Okay, so trade number 1. Wait, before we go to trade number 1, I say here that it was a comfortable week, so I just described the week just gone, and so it says it's a comfortable week even though there were some lack of results in execution. That just means to me that, what I mean by that, is that I was comfortable sitting there in front of the chart, sitting there looking at, dollars minusing off of me, plussing off of me, pips going up, pips going down, so I think that's really important, even though there was lack of results, right? Because then it's starting to become more natural. I don't mind the anxiety, I guess. Probably the better way to say it is that I think the week just gone, last week, was the week where I started getting less and less anxious. How is it hard to get to that description? Okay, so let me just move me over and make me smaller so that we can focus on the data at hand. I hope this is small enough. How's that? Okay, and let's decrease the tunes. It's really for me, just to keep it fun for me, but it's also for you, the viewers, who will be watching this later, probably, who knows. Right, focus. So trade number 1, this was my first trade of my week 3, and so it was a sell. What's good about this is that I waited for a candle in my direction, and honestly, this trade is a impulse entry. That means that I waited for candle to break a certain level, and then I entered, meaning I did not wait for it to close, right? And so, but that only works really, I found, in higher volume times. Even then, your higher volume times is not always the same time. And so I'm gonna show you what I mean by that later. Okay, so this trade, we're gonna be only talking about the picture in the middle, right? So I say that every week. Okay, cool. So this is a sell, and so impulse entry, my stop loss was at the higher time frame up here. This was like a bigger candle, and so I put my tolerance levels for risk management risk management at the 50% of over there. Here is my tolerance. That means that if price suddenly decides to go back against me, my tolerance level is where I will be cutting my lot size and therefore cutting my losses. So I have 3 tolerance levels for risk management, which is 50%, and then cutting it half again at 75%, and then closing the trade at the half of that, which is 87.5%. I think, correct me if you must. Right, so because the idea is that volume should be in your side, right, my side, right, then that the likelihood of having to do that should be low. However, what happened here is that, is there a really however? But I was a pussy. And so, yes, I did take my profits. Like, yes, that's a great thing to do, take your profits. But, like, I'm really trying to change leaving runners, right? I'm trying to do that, and look, I didn't do it again, and then look what happened. Yeah, I think some people got 100 pips on this trade. But because I was being too scared of leaving money on the table, right? Then this is what happens. I just take profit, and the moment I saw this dip, wait, so what did I do? I took a sell, put my stop there, took my profit, trailed my stop, took another profit because it dipped a little bit, and then I just stared at it, took another profit, and I think I closed the trade. Yes, I closed the trade. Oh no, I didn't. I choked the trade. There you go. I trailed the stop. Let me rewind that again. Let me just say that again, what exactly happened. I took a sell, put my stop, price went up, I got 10 pips, trailed my stop, price kind of dipped down and then came back up. That dip really scared me, and so I took another take profit. And then because that dip scared me, after it went up, I put my trail stop there, and it was hanging out around here, and then I was comfortable to leave a runner, but I choked the trade right here. And so when price went down, I managed to hit my stop loss and I was out of the trade. That's what happened, right? And that's because I was having anxiety over here because of that. Even though I've already taken profits and I've already cut my lot size, but you know, for me that's fine, because it's better to just take profits at this point when you're a beginner, when I'm a beginner, rather than just like letting the market do its thing and me leaving money on the table. So yes, it's not like a lot of profits that I took, but I did not lose. I did not lose. What's good about this is all the things I just said. I calculated my calculations very well, because from the week prior I was really on that, and it was just like bad, right? And so I was really concentrating on that, probably why I was having anxiety, and I just kept taking profits because I was having issues with calculations. So it's like giving me more anxiety, but that's totally normal. Of course, you're trying to execute something you just learned. And yes, I was very good at trailing my stops because I was doing them. Basically executing them. And yeah, it's a logical setup. It's a higher time frame. This is trading a trend, so the price was doing this move right here, so it was selling, making support, which is a lower high, and then it was consolidating lower high and then lower low. And so I was just like trying to capitalize from the from that move, right? And I was quite proud of how my impulse entry actually worked out on Monday. I was shitting myself on that because it's still something I'm not the most familiar with, but I'm trying to get familiar with it, and it's working out so far just because I'm executing. So that's just great news. Now, the bad thing is that I was leaving runners. I was not leaving runners, and can I just add choking trade? But should I? Okay, choking the trade. So that's just something I just added just now. Okay, trade number 2 was very, very bad. Well, okay, trade number 2 and trade number 3 was on a Tuesday. It was 2 trades, right? This trade right here is trade number 2, and that happened very, very quickly. And then I thought, oh, okay, let's go again. And then I just ended up going, like, you know, I got beat up basically. So talking about trade number 2 first, this was a buy setup, and what I wanted to do was actually impulse entry as the candle breaks here. However, I was too slow to do that. Calculations were there, not like last week where calculations was all over the place, but because I was too slow on clicking buttons, clickety-clacking on the MetaTrader, then what happened was that my entry ended up being above there, right? Anyway, at the time I was like, okay, get over that very, very quickly and just continue with your routine. And so I do the entry, put the stop loss. What happens first is that price went and against me, and so I had to cut my trade in half, because that's my risk management plan, and I am here to firstly execute my risk management plan before anything else. And I kind of redeemed myself from being slow up here because I was faster up there. And then this, right, price kind of went in, tried to tickle my 75% tolerance to cut the trade again, but it went up after that, and then it just kept going up. And so I managed to bring back some of my losses, and I got my first, was it a 10 pip? We'll review that later, but I got some pippage right there. And then because that was super scary and made me anxious, I just put my stop loss just above break even right there, not to choke it so much, because when this candle closed there was no wick, right? So I'm like, okay, it's looking crappy, and so put my trail stop there, and then it hit it right after this candle. Now after this happened very, very quickly. Right after this happened, I realized that actually this is a resistance right there. And so if we are right now at high volume times, then that is like a big slap in the face, right? Like rejection, like, I don't know, being blocked by LeBron. really hard. And so I said to myself, okay, Angeli, as price comes back into this level, which is here, go and enter, right? So as you can see, that was the idea for this trade. However, this is where it went wrong, because that happened that happened very, very quickly, and it was just like I was not able to execute, and it just kept going down. And then I said, okay, if it breaks there, fine. If it breaks here, then probably go again, because you still have some pippage to catch down here. And again, I was very, very slow, but I was getting super irritated, and I went anyway. And that is where it all went wrong, because yes, my pippage, if I like, look, fine, I missed that trade, right? But this really was the last straw for me to enter. Like, this was the last chance for me to enter into this drop, to ride this drop, because how much logic is there from making an entry here, right? Putting a stop there and targeting this area. Super logical, right? Super logical. From here, your entry, and then up all the way to there. Logical. However, when I missed that, I got kind of emotional. No, it wasn't kind of emotional. I should just tell you the truth. It was very emotional. I was irritated was the emotion. And so, fuck it. Let's just enter anyway. And look how illogical the trade became. Right? Like, how the hell do I expect... I cannot even squeeze logic, you know, from here to increase the illogical logic. Like, it's just dumb, right? And look, I entered there. Yes, I was quick with my stop loss. And but market was also very quick to bounce back up. And so I got fucked. Therefore, that is why there was no form of cutting losses from my entry to the stop right over there. All because I let myself get irritated, and I let myself get irritated. I have no other words for it. Because of FOMO. Because I was like, but it's leaving me, and I want to get in there, but it left me. And then I was planning to get in there, but it left me again. I was too slow. Putting irritation aside, what was the other issue? The other issue was that I was slow at execution. So, I mean, this can happen again, right? But put the emotional side aside, and really the more significant issue is that I was slow on execution. So if this happens again, by that time, I hope that I'm no longer as emotional as I was on this trade. Then all I gotta worry about really is not being hesitant and just executing. Right? So what is the positive thing about this trade is that I managed to really look at myself and really deconstruct what was going on. I just deconstructed it here, but can you imagine doing that while the wound is still fresh? It was very hard, but I still done it. And I don't think I would have been able to explain it right now as well as I feel like I have explained it if I haven't done that right after this trade. Because I literally took a pause, went into the bathroom, looked at me, and, you know, did some self-talk, right? And then I told myself, you know what? Forget the shitty thing that you did. Put the emotion aside. What could you do better? And that's how I came up with you know, a newfound routine now, which I'll explain later. And yeah, so what positive things happened on Tuesday was that, yes, I was executing risk management. I was having my one logical setup, but it's really barely acceptable because it's close to a resistance right there. But because I had some pippage, then it was fine. It was acceptable, right? But still, maybe I should stop doing that, which is a note for me for this week. Now, yeah, that's it. Okay, number 4, trade number 4. Trade number 4 is again kind of this, right? I seem to like getting slapped in the face by the market. Like, I'm doing it again. However, really, my resistance was up there and I had enough pippage to go for. And this time I was more on fire with I was more hot potato with my execution right there, because this was my tolerance level to execute right there. When candle passes this level right here, I said I'm gonna enter, right? And so I did. And so my stop loss was pretty decent. I include, this is a smaller time frame to the bigger time frame. And so actually in the bigger time frame, the wick of this thing, green candle, was actually here, right? And in the lower time frame, when I saw there's no like liquidity from there, it was just like strong bullish move. Then I was like, okay, let's go. It gave me more confidence. That's probably gonna go shoot up, right? And so this is a trade that was barely in drawdowns in. We'll check how much pippage I caught. But yeah, so I entered on impulse entry. I got my target, and sorry, I entered on a impulse entry, put my stop, got my target, trailed my stop below this candle. And I was really trying hard to leave a runner. This is me trying to leave a runner, and I just ended up leaving money on the table. But you know, that's just probability working. It's probability, it's not 100%, right? And yeah, so then I trailed my stop, comfortable with that, and just ended up getting stopped out. But it's a winning trade. Winning. What's good about this? I think the way that I keep doing a buy on a resistance is a sign of FOMO, but I'm not sure. If you think it's a sign of FOMO, let me know. But because the thing is, it's a icky situation, right? Like the initial, like from analysis, this is really the resistance. So I had room. So is it really FOMO? But then it started getting messy down here. Do you see? This is probably a minor resistance level, right? And then yeah, okay, so it says here that I left money on the table and it hurt me. That's just, it's not really a negative. That's just how I felt when I wasn't able to take more profits up here, especially up here when I saw this red thing, because I was forcing myself to leave runners. But yeah, eventually I think I'm gonna get used to that feeling. Anyway, positives, right? Was, I think this is the day where, okay, I'm really more comfortable with my calculations, and I was just like thinking of executing. No, oh yeah, and yeah, like I said, my stop loss was in a higher time frame candle, and I was executing my logical setups, and I managed to secure some profits. A winning trade. So I got 2 out of 4 winning trades. Now, trade number 5 is the trade of the week. It's my first ever 100 and then 200 pips. I did not expect to catch anything like that until next year. Really. But somehow it happened. As you can see, I don't know. Wow, it just like, I guess this is what happens when probability is working on your side, right? And I could not think of any negatives here really, because instead of buying near resistance, I ended up selling at the support here, and I really waited for like, you know, the time to really hit New York Open, and that's what happened right after. Barely in drawdown, right? And so okay, so what's great about this trade is that the 100 pips and 200 pips, no, it's the risk management that is great. I want to celebrate my risk management skills first of all, right? Actually, I recorded this trade right here. Somehow I'm gonna end up posting about it because I'm so proud of it, but it's from my other setup, so I don't know, I need to figure out. Anyway, I'll be sure to post that, how it all went down with commentary narration in the background. Okay, so calculations of my risk was, I think, too much on the safe side. Having reviewed it again, it was too much on the safe side because, you know, I had bad experiences in the beginning of the week, so I kind of like decreased my risk on this day. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I should just really stick to my risk, but because I was, you know, shit scared, so that's what happened. But yeah, so basically instead of playing with my $750 for trade, I think I ended up playing like 600. So it's not like a lot of downsizing from my thing, but yeah, I still ended up downsizing because it shows lack of confidence. And yeah, let's just stop calling me negative stuff. Okay, the other thing is execution. The moment that I saw my thing breaking, right? This was another impulse entry, by the way. I just like, okay, be decisive, impulse entry, and I just put my stop loss right away. And as it's coming down, I just kept trailing my stop. I got my first pocketing here. I think it was 10 pips, usually is, and unless it's really fast. And then I just kept, you know, trying to leave a runner, but I could not, and so I took some profits. Trying to leave a runner, I could not. Took some profit again. Trying to leave a runner for the last time, and that is me you know, my first ever better attempt on leaving a runner right here to there. And yes, is it really leaving a runner? No, because I put a take profit, but that's because I look at the higher time frame and there was some traffic on, you know, happening that way to the left, right? And so I thought, okay, maybe some resistance is gonna start forming up there, and probably price is gonna go back up. And look, it did. I think it actually went all the way back up to around my entry point, and so it was a good decision to actually take profit down there. Yeah. And yeah, this trade I was like in flow, no anxiety, no weird feelings, just like me in the market. I don't know, if you guys play sports, you must have had those experiences when you're like, wow, I can hit every shot. Yeah, that happened to me a lot in basketball when I was playing basketball. Like, I don't care if some big dude was gonna block me, I would still just follow through my shots. And yeah, one of the best moments is just like being in flow. Yeah. And yeah, it was just an effortless trade, and it's one that I plan to keep repeating, keep visualizing that I'm gonna keep doing it, and so hopefully I will be able to keep doing it. Right, last trade of the week. It is a losing trade, so if you're not interested, goodbye. Nice to see you. Who likes listen about losses? But I do, because that's how I'm gonna improve, right? If you feel the same way, listen, because actually, yes, it's a losing trade, but I would say that this is the trade where I had the least hesitation. and that's very important, right? Being comfortable and winning, that's easy. Anyone can do that. But while you're losing and being not hesitant, oh sorry, I'm shouting. Passion. While losing and being genuinely comfortable and having little to no hesitation, I think that is just a dream come true for that to happen to me at this point, like 3 weeks into you know, doing some high stakes, playing with some high stake account, right? It is a high stake account. It has a lot of pressure. This is honestly, this is the account where I felt so much pressure, more than my real money, right? I don't know why, but that's because, you know, it's funding challenge, and I potentially would have a lot of kaching if I did, you know, if I do get the challenge achieved, right? But honestly, it was just awesome. The way I was comfortable just cutting losses, it is just a great feeling. It was I celebrated, you know. Maybe this was a shitty entry, but in truth, this is why buying high resistance is something I put as a negative, because look, it is at resistance. But like in my mind, I was thinking, okay, we have some room, because in the higher time frame there was a wick fill right before. I was thinking it's gonna start coming down, and it had like 40 pips to go, and I was only aiming for 10, you know. Like probability just wasn't on my side, but who cares? As the moment I started losing, I was comfortable, like, you know, it was just great. I loved it. And then I was like, okay, what happened after, you know, the game went, like, this was like a 5-minute trade, what, 10-minute trade. And then I look at the higher time frames, and actually it was a counter trend. So now, you know, after being comfortable losing, I still had enough mental energy to look at what the fuck happened and to check out where it went wrong. That is just great. Like, feeling nothing at all, just feeling like it's a normal thing. I don't know if yeah. Like, these are one of the questions I had as a beginner trader. Like, when am I gonna start being comfortable? When am I gonna start just taking things as they go and not feeling shit about my trades? And this was the first one ever. So that's why I'm emphasizing right now on this trade, because this is a very important trade to me. Maybe it'll be for you too. What's positive about this? Oh yeah, let's move on from the negatives and then go on to the positives. So next time, if I'm gonna do a counter trend, right, then I've decided that I should have a better confirmation, like a stronger candle, not like a bull candle with no range to fill. So yeah, and yeah, make sure that I have enough pippage to cover my target. And yeah, that did apply here, but I wanted to write two together so that I remember the two for next time, not just the one. Now, the good things are that my calculations were on point, and my stop loss was a high time frame candle, and I was executing. Now, what happened was, this was impulse entry at resistance, so it's bad. Price went down, sorry, impulse entry to go long, but it's at resistance, so that's where it, you know, it looked bad. And then there was no wick form. I was shitting myself that there was no wick form. Would have been the normal feeling, but I was like, okay, at this trade, in reality, I was just like, okay, there's no wick. Okay, I must be on point with my closing, cutting my losses. And so, bam, close. 75%, bam, close. And I even closed my 87.5% tolerance right there. It didn't even hit my stop loss because I closed there. So I really lost. I only lost, if this was my 1% risk, overall, because I was cutting lot sizes on the way down, I only lost 67% of that 1% risk. That's a win right there. Win. Okay, overview. Let's talk about overview. It is a losing week because of stupid stuff. But remove the stupid stuff and it's easily a winning week. Therefore, do not do stupid stuff again. Easy. That's the overview, right? Okay, negatives. Slow at execution, using of weak confirmation, trading into rejections. That is basically, you know, me trading into resistance. Like resistance is where you get slapped down. So that's basically, you know, trading into getting slapped down, trading into rejection. So don't do that, and do not do that. Now, there's some recurring instances of FOMO as discussed from here, there. Yeah, two out of 6 trades, recurrences of FOMO. But you know, even the pros still have FOMO. So yeah, as long as I keep working on them, then it should be fine. Now, I have some signs of impatience, especially on Tuesday, trade number 2 and 3, because, well, what do you call that? Irritation and impatience. I have no words for it other than that. And still not being able to leave runners. I only really managed to do it, barely managed to do it on that big trade number 5 right here. I really should just like left it alone right there, right? But I couldn't. I wasn't ready for it. Eventually I will be. Positives is that I was carrying over my week 2 goals onto week 3, and I was more consistent with when do I turn up, and I figured that I don't take as long to draw my levels resistance analysis. Like, it only really takes me 20 minutes prior to the New York Open. And yeah, I guess I've decided to now just trade at New York Open. Like, get ready 20 minutes before New York Open, and then get your analysis going, your tolerance levels for your actions, and then yeah, trade at New York Open. And that allowed me to have minimum time spent on charts, right? Yes, I was consistent with only trading gold, because then, you know, I get to become friends with gold more and more, make it special, spend lots of time with it, something like that is the idea. And yeah, risk management was very, very nice, apart from that stupid moment over there, here. Really irritating. Anyway, yeah, I got some logical setups, even though they are risky, you know, near rejections. But I had pippage to cover for me. Now, if only I had really good confirmations, like strong confirmations, then probably the logical setup would have a higher probability. So yeah, it's something I'm working on. Securing profits, definitely, I'm getting good at that. Maybe too good that I'm not leaving runners, which is, you know, yes, I managed to leave a decent runner, but barely managed to do that. But at least I'm starting to do it. And yeah, I'm getting comfortable with executing. Super comfy. Now, yes, I am much more detailed on my trade reviews. I don't mean the one that I'm doing here right now, but like post-trade, you know, really dissecting my brain and figuring out right after whether it's a winning trade or a losing trade. And you know, like I said, minimum spent time on charts. Stats. Everyone loves stats. So total 6 of 6 trades, 4 wins and 2 losses. Yeah, I think that's, what is that? 1/2. So what? 66% win rate today. And that the one loss was a stupid loss. So really, It's a loss that's something I can really I have a lot of control over, being, you know, not being slow and having no hesitation and just removing my impatience. So remove all those from the equation, and really is if I was, you know, I could easily turn that around. If my loss is all down to my attitude, then that's a loss that should never happen ever again if I really concentrate and focus. Yeah, let me say that again. One of these losses was down to me, to my attitude, and down to my slow execution. And so if me manages to remove those stupid attitudes that contributed to that loss, and become a lot more quick with my execution, and have a much more solid routine, effective, efficient, fast routine on establishing my tolerance levels for when do I execute, then that is a loss that should never occur ever again, right? Because the other loss was just a probability. So that's, to me, is a more acceptable loss. But the other one, to me, should never happen again. And yeah, my funding talent net was 7% on... Oh, I forgot. But yeah, it hasn't budged. Still very bad. So I have 1 week to turn it around. Right. Now, right after doing that on Friday, my plans for the weekend was to refine my risk management routine to allow me to have a smoother routine, so that I can establish where my tolerance level to do my actions are, you know, to have those quicker for me to do my actions. And I was to review my entries, which, yes, I did a lot, and then reviewing setups, which I did, especially this one right here. And yeah, reviewing trading trends, because the big trade that I wanted to replicate over and over again was the big trade, which is a trading trend. And yes, I tried not to think about trading, so I went to gym. I could not skate because my legs hurt from doing too much gym. So yeah, I did those over the weekend, and now this is like the big boy plans, or this is the big girl plans right here. Right. Okay. So I am not to overtrade this week. No overtrading. I'm sticking to my allowance 1%. And just in case I do some slow execution, I actually am planning to only do 0.75% of my 1% risk allowance. Now, I'm carrying over my ability to calculate my risks a lot more accurately before the sessions, and I am really concentrating on logical setups, meaning I must be aware of potential counter trends and trading into rejections, and like looking at the higher time frames, and carrying over my goals of logical stop losses and take profit areas. Now, the other big thing for me to execute on this week is to wait for confirmation that is in my direction, right? So candle close entries, great. And for the more risky entries of impulse entries, I must wait for a high time frame candle on them, not a 5-minute and 1-minute candle. I haven't been doing that last week, so that's good. So I'm just carrying that over. And yeah, executing of my risk management consistently is like the number one really to carry over, right? So this is the thing that I'm working on, so that I can be faster with execution. Yeah, my tolerance levels for my executions, and less hesitation to carry that over, because I started feeling less hesitant. So I want to carry that over, and cutting of losses, trailing stops, to keep doing that, and securing profits, which I feel like I'm very good at, but I need to find the line, the effective what, but I need to find, you know, like securing profits and leaving runners. The fine line between it. It's a very fine line that I want to be in. So I'm working on that. Like, you know, leaving runners, not trying to trade, but not leaving money on the table, but leaving runners. So those are the goals. And yeah, here's to week 24. Right. I hope you enjoy that. Once again, I'm going to be putting timestamps right now. And yeah, let's go to end this trade recap. Thank you for watching. I really enjoyed this trade recap. I hope you did too. Let me know. And yeah, if you have any advice, let me know. If you think I'm improving, let me know. If you think I'm becoming shitter, let me know. Yeah? Cool. Thank you. And enjoy your trading week of this week, week 24. Good luck to everybody. Till next time. But that's gonna be a short next time because I'm gonna be doing a gold weekly analysis like right now. See ya.